Hi, everyone. I am Linda Welbrock, the CEO and founder of Leading Women Entrepreneurs and the Force for Change Awards here in New Jersey. Our mission is to create a sustainable environment that brings leaders together and showcases their attributes and contributions to this great state of New Jersey. And we have an incredible honoree with us here today who has just worked so hard to keep so many people safe during this past year plus. Her name is Nancy Holecek, Senior Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer at RWJ Barnabas Health. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you, Linda. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So, Nancy, again, I can't even imagine all of the emotions that that you must have been going through during this challenging time in history. How did you manage to continue to provide essential health care in 2020, also while navigating the pandemic and keeping patients and workers safe?
So, as we entered the pandemic, it was a priority for us to continue to give the best, highest quality of care to our patients while keeping our staff safe. And obviously, that was a challenge. And we wanted to make sure we continue to serve our communities and their needs. And so, one of the things I have to say did help was some of the executive orders that were put into place, because that helped us to balance the needs of our critical care COVID patients, as well as emergent surgeries or procedures or folks who just need to continue receiving care in a time of crisis. And so being able to balance that was really helped by some of those executive orders. And in addition, I have to say our healthcare team, teamwork really is the theme, I think, of what we saw in the last year and a half. And the healthcare team came together, and whether it was to provide appropriate PPE to keep our staff safe and keep our patients safe, and whether it was making sure they had the right equipment, or even the emotional and mental health support that was required in order to keep them at their best during this challenge, we attempted to try to provide those different elements. And in terms of continuing care in the community, we escalated our telehealth services, which we continue today, and that was a really terrific game changer. We've had telehealth in the past, but it was never used to the degree it's being used now. So that was a really wonderful way to keep patients connected to care. In addition, we came up with home treatment therapies, including oxygen therapies that enable patients to stay out of the hospital and away from some of the crisis that was going on, and be cared for safely in their own home if they met certain criteria. So, in general, the response of the staff was just so inspiring, and the teamwork that went into it was what enabled us to continue to provide that care.
So, Nancy, tell me, how big is the team that you're working with and managing?
Well, we have over 11,000 nurses in our system. And then, of course, that, when I say team, it's our nursing staff, it's our nursing assistants, respiratory therapists, our physicians, our ancillary staff. One of the things that was so striking to me, and a takeaway for me, is that the entire hospital staff came together to help provide care and provide support to the caregivers, so that we were able to get through the crisis. And every single person that came to work during this crisis will never really understand the difference that they made, the impact that they made in order to save lives. Everyone from the security guard, the dietitian, clerical folks. I mean, it was truly, I could go on and on. Our transport folks, equipment, materials management. They were incredible and very flexible and very resilient. And it was just an amazing thing to witness.
Great. So tell me, Nancy, what are some of the things that came to you that made you most proud to be working at RWJ Barnabas?
So again, it goes back to our staff. I was so proud of our staff putting themselves selflessly out there. Not a lot of science behind what was going on. We didn't have a lot of knowledge up front, and yet, of course, they are caregivers. It's what they do. It's who they are. And they put themselves in the middle of this crisis and came to work every day. I was just so proud of them. And, keep in mind, they were taking care of colleagues. They were taking care of family. Well, they saw family members who were sick and needed care. And so just the way that they came together. And the other thing that I was very proud about is nurses and our other clinical staff, because I just can never separate I can never separate it. It is a team. And so, but nurses tend to be very creative and innovative. And when you're faced with a crisis like this, they got busy and they became innovators. And so whether it was developing new ways to communicate with family members, because family members weren't allowed at their loved ones' bedsides during a very critical time, or whether it was creating proning protocols which help patients to breathe easier, or whether it was creating staffing pods in order to provide care in overflow, units, because we really opened up every inch of the hospital in order to provide care. Those innovations were very exciting to see. So again, it goes back to our staff and the teamwork that was required in order to continue to provide the best care possible.
Great. Now, as we emerge from this pandemic and continue to work together, is there anything else that you would like to add on how you are going to continue to be a force for change?
So yes, we have to remember we're still in the pandemic. We're unfortunately still in it. People still are getting sick every day. And I can't stress enough the importance of vaccination, and not only vaccination, but trying to educate about any or correct any misinformation that is out there around vaccination. And so our hospital system has tried to play a huge part in both the vaccination process with mega centers, but also in trying to provide education and going out to our communities and providing those vaccines. And then, of course, you hear in the news about the various mutations that are occurring. And so we have to continue to be vigilant and continue to hand washing and masking and distancing when sick, and just practicing good hygiene. And I guess lastly, if I could, I just want to once again say that the Force for Change platform this year was about folks making a significant and positive impact on the lives of others during the pandemic. And I absolutely, once again, want to acknowledge our team, healthcare workers. They really are the true heroes doing what they do every day. And I think collectively, if we all play our part, we can continue to look out for one another and make a difference.
Well, we can't thank you enough for bringing your fearless energy and positive spirit to this tragic time that we got through together as a state. And Nancy, we can't wait to celebrate you and recognize you and RWJ Barnabas on November 8th as a true force for change in the state of New Jersey and beyond.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you. I'm very honored. Thank you.